Hi guys, this is Tony here from Metal Roos. You're about to sit down and enjoy an interview I just did um, over there, and so do like and subscribe so you can get all this straight into your streaming and into your consciousness as soon as it arrives. So enjoy the interview, and I will. Over to you, Tony. That's happened. Well, welcome back, Bjorn, to Metal Ruse. This time round, we're
Thank you.
talking about that's this time we're talking about the new album, which I've just been
Hmm.
listening to today, which is
Yeah.
Give Us. Is it Give Us the Moon, which is
Yeah.
out in a couple
Correct.
of days' time.
Yeah.
Last time we spoke, we were talking about the live tour because you were here 2023 doing Australian tour, a small
Yeah. Yeah.
vignette tour.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that wasn't off the back of an album. That was just back of just a tour, wasn't it? You weren't touring an album
Yeah.
as such then. I don't think.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Huh?
yeah. This one is a cracker, by the way, Bjorn. Absolute,
All right. Awesome.
that's absolute cracker. Like,
Thank you.
it's really hard one um, if people haven't heard your music to really describe it because it
Yeah.
doesn't. I don't find it's easy to. I was sitting there making notes, going, how do I describe this album? Um,
Yeah. I know.
it's really
I hear you.
hard,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and that's beautiful. That's a wonderful thing to be,
Yeah.
isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
I
I think
just
so too.
Yeah, I just wrote. In fact, I made a big note. I just wrote disco, disco, disco all
It's,
over
it's a
it.
disc.
Disco, disco, disco.
Yeah. There's a
Um,
there's a fair amount of disco on it for sure. Yes.
there is, but it's
Mhm.
fun. It's such a. I think it's a bit of a departure from your last album, don't you think? In its
Um,
concept.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we brought back all the name dropping of cities and streets and names more than ever, I would say.
Oh,
So
definitely. Well, that's true. Yes.
because it goes along with a sort of a soundtrack of being in motion kind of thing. It's
Mm.
like a soundtrack to a road trip even. And I don't know. I would say that this new album is a bit more uplifting and more empowering than Aromantic 1 and 2, which had some. I wouldn't say darker elements, but I think it also affected us in the band in a different way. Obviously, with the passing of David Anderson as well, and,
Yes.
and those were some
Yes.
pretty dark years for him, and I guess it reminds us a little bit of how he was feeling at the time, and I think we wanted to write something a bit more positive. But that being said, it's still very multi-layered, and it definitely has like sort of the ABBA melancholy running through it as well, which is important to us. That's a tradition that we aim to carry on. But it's there's a fair amount of AWR in there, but there's the classic rock, there's pop, there's that, and I think that's the beauty of us being able to sort of move between genres even and still tie it together somehow,
Yeah.
that it's yeah. So it's hard to put a label on it, and I understand that it's almost like an impossible task to
It completely
describe.
impossible.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wrote certain words. I wrote cinematic,
Yeah.
which I thought it was.
Mm. Yeah.
I've got captivating stories, which they are, and uplifting, which I wrote as well. So, and
Yeah.
romantic and nostalgic. So
Yeah.
it has all that in there. But
Yeah.
I loved it. The name dropping, I have to say, it's something like because I mean, I live in Australia, and having Melbourne mentioned there was
Yeah.
it was quite nice to hear.
Yeah.
It reminds me. And please tell me if I'm wrong here, but because you have the opening bit with the intro, with the airport
Yeah.
sounds, and then scattered through the album, you've got the tannoy over the hostess or the saying
Yeah.
notifications on the plane. It has a
Yeah.
real 70s proggy sound feel to me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I love that. It's one of my favorite things in all the world. And I was
Yeah.
listening to, and
Yeah.
I wrote 80s yes, if you know
Yeah.
what I mean. It sounds like the keyboards that
Atheist,
run
yes.
through it.
Yes.
80s
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
And
sure. That's a bit.
very
That's a
much
big
so.
inspiration. It is. Yeah.
I think so, because you can hear it.
Mm.
You can hear
Yeah. Yeah.
and they're always uplifting. John Anderson's lyrics are always positive. He's always an uplifting
Yeah.
spirit of a person, and you get
Yeah.
that. I mean, this is a big album, 13 tracks. I mean,
Yeah. It's a lot
it's
to go through. Yeah. But
it is, but it flies by. Like, and I mean that in
yeah.
a positive way.
Yeah. Thank
Sometimes
you.
you put an
Yeah.
album on and it drags. You go, oh man,
Yeah.
where am I, 6 or 7 yet? I got
Yeah.
to the brilliantly labeled Stewardess, Empress, Hot Mess, and the Captain of Pain, which is a
Hey,
freaking
yeah. Yes.
cracking title, right at the
Yeah.
end. And I was like, oh, am I here now? It was almost like a
Yeah.
really enjoyable flight on a plane because
Yeah.
it flew
Awesome.
by.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Very nice. Very nice.
yeah. I mean, some
Very cool.
standouts. Do you have any particular favorites on the album that you are really proud of? I mean, you're obviously proud of all of it.
Yeah, I mean, it tends to change a bit. I mean, some of my favorites, Cosmic Tide is one of them. It sounds a bit more, sort of like going back to what we did a little bit before, but sort of like an updated version, and I think it has that kind of, early 80s rush to it as well,
Yeah, well, that's
and
another thing I should write
even,
that. Well, I
yeah, it's
shouldn't write
like,
that. I'm going to write that down.
yes. Exactly, and but it sounds very much like us too. It has we have by now. I think we have a trademark. Even when we do, if we're sounding like 77 or 83, it doesn't really matter. We sort
No,
of put our mark on it. So, and it needs to make sense today. It needs to be like refreshing and makes you feel like we're moving forward and not all about nostalgia. So that's really important to us as well, and yeah, so that's definitely one of them. I think "Way to Spend the Night" is a great song, and it's sort of brings out the fun that we have with this band. And if you see in the video, it
mm,
really showcases exactly how it is. There's no fake in that video, it's all smiles and having fun. And so that's how it looks, when we're out there, and most of the time. So which is hard to do. I'm not 23 and a half anymore, but
no.
we try to keep the tours a bit more shorter and not your 6 week tours, and then you're able to do it.
Keep
So
the energy up. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah. Go
yeah.
on, Karen. Karen, sorry.
No, so there's that one, and I mean, on a personal level, putting together Stewardess, Empress, Hot Mess, and a Captain of Pain, which, yeah, it started as a challenge because David, he always used to write these long epic songs, and now that he's not with us here anymore, I felt that I needed to pay tribute to that and carry on that tradition, and I had to dig very deep because I've never really written a song like that, not that long, at least, and I ended up writing a 7 minute and 47 second song, just like the plane, and that became the guiding star. So that was quite an interesting project, and yeah, I don't know, something really amazing came out there, and it's yeah, I'm definitely proud of that song, having being the album closer and everything, and so yeah, that's definitely an effort to be proud of. I think it turned out really cool. It's
It
super
did.
diverse, and that song definitely take you on a journey in itself. So there's that, and I love the opening track. I think it's a perfect opening track, Stratus.
Stratus, brilliant. Yeah,
With a final call in the beginning there, and it's yeah, it's so empowering and dreamy in so many ways. Yeah,
it is. It really pulls you into the album. I was thinking that because
yeah,
I do love albums that start with quirky little things that isn't just
yeah,
a collection of loose fitting songs. Like there's a place for that. But then when you
yeah,
come and you put this on and you go, oh, and you get drawn into that little bit of the world of the album, and then you take
yeah,
it on this. Like I really love Runaways. Like I
yeah, yeah,
really love the
yeah. That's
opening.
another one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a nice, it's a complete difference. Like you step down from a Paris point of view and then into that.
Mhm.
Because the Paris point of view is
Yeah.
really it's quite disco-y, it's quite
Yes.
up.
Yes. Yeah.
And then you get to Runaways and it has that little bit of darkness to it, but
Yeah. It's
not
like sentimental somehow, like
sentimental.
dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
With
Yeah.
that
Yeah. For
guitar
sure.
rhythm in it, that sort of quite heavy
Yeah.
guitar that
Yeah.
feels almost different to everything else on the album.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. For sure.
yeah, because there's some
Mm.
magnificent keyboards on this. There is some magnificent keys
Yes.
on this
Yes.
album.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
It,
For sure. John has done a fantastic job. I think.
God,
It's.
yes, he has. Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
different stratosphere
Mm.
on this album. It felt, not that any instrument takes over an album by
Mm.
any means. Sometimes guitars can take over albums, you know that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but it just felt. being, I said, as being a Yes fan of many years and things of Genesis and stuff, it
Yeah,
felt complimentary.
yeah,
It felt journey, like the journey, and
yeah.
it's just a, yeah. Oh, what I wrote here. I have to ask. I wrote ask about Melbourne. What Melbourne? May I? Can I ask you about that song?
Yes, of course. Yes,
Uh,
yes. So that all happened so basically when we embarked on our first tour to Australia with this band.
mm.
We connected in Dubai, and in Dubai, I get a phone call from my mom who tells me she has breast cancer. And then flying to the other side of the world, that's really tough getting that kind of call. And so I had to stay strong through that tour and a lot of thoughts, but I felt like the crowds were really bringing me up, and it felt like I was surrounded by family, obviously with the band as well, and but still, it was tough. We had some great shows, and then everything culminated in Melbourne, where we had a fantastic show. There was something, I don't know, there was something special about that show. I loved all the shows,
Brilliant.
but it kind of culminated there, and I kind of broke down a bit after the show because it was so beautiful, the whole thing, and I was on the other side of the planet, but still I felt like I was surrounded by family. And then, I had to just write some kind of a tribute to the city of Melbourne and its people, and also, the Aussie crowd in general for sort of lifting me up, and it has happened before. I've been to Melbourne so many times in Australia. I mean, I believe that tour was our 11th time. I've been there 10 times with Solar before.
Mm.
First time I was in Australia, I remember I was celebrating my 25th birthday, smoking a cigar in Brisbane in this pool by the bridge there, and yeah, it's surreal. And now I'm like 40 plus. Like I don't know what
Yeah.
happened, but anyways, it's always been a special place to me, and but that sort of journey there with my mom ha inspired me to write the lyrics for Melbourne Maya. So it,
Brilliant.
it became really special. Yeah, yeah. And she's fine, by the way.
Oh,
She's
good. I was
she's
going to
fine.
say,
So knock 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 knock.
no,
So
not
yeah, you
not
went
to
through
this.
the whole, yeah. Yes.
Well, brilliant, because I will listen to it again, a song again when we hang up here, and I will now listen to it with
Yeah.
different ears, which is what
Yeah.
this sort of thing is also good about, because as a listener, you can hear a piece of music and a lyric, and you can,
Mm.
I all the time, you can interpret a lyric any way you want, because it's words, and words are fluid, and they can interpret
Yeah.
any way you want to interpret them. But when you know the story
Yeah.
and the behind it, it does give you a little bit more of wonderment and interest in that track.
Yeah. True.
And
True.
and and I think that's a really strong one to have. And thank you for letting us know that story.
Yeah.
It's
Of course. Of course.
it's
Yeah.
fantastic. But I must
Mm.
admit, yes, Cosmic Tide is on one of my favorites. I did tick that with a big red
Yeah.
tick on
Yeah.
it. But also the opening track, the album, uh, the name of the Give Us the Moon.
Yeah.
That's a real uplifting
Yeah.
feel of music. It feels
Yeah.
positive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That one has something special as well. It's like has like a That's a little bit of a melancholic disco, but still uplifting. And but
Mm.
I think that's what that the ABBA tradition, that somehow, like, even when they had sort of like very nostalgic, sentimental, and or even like more melancholic stuff, it was still uplifting somehow. I think that's a really cool thing to sort of capture.
Yeah, I think but I think again,
Mm.
Swedish did very well.
Mm.
It's that way of c conveying, like you said, melancholy, sadness, or day-to-day life,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah,
with a big upbeat behind it.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, don't get me wrong. There's some very good black bands and metal bands in Sweden that do it very dark, but
yeah, yeah,
you
absolutely. Yeah,
guys, of course, but you guys do it with love and it upbeat. It's just upbeat and passion,
yeah,
I think, is the
yeah,
word,
exactly.
and fun. Don't you think the word is fun? I think I mean, you look at any pictures of you and your sequin jackets and
Yeah, exactly.
your sunglasses. It's just fun, right?
Yeah,
You
no, I
know,
mean, of course we have our gimmicks and we have our, sort of tongue-in-cheek stuff, but we
but it's
also love
fun.
it, and we want to be over the top, and I think that's exactly what we would like to see watching a band. We want to hear great music, great songs and super nice outfits, a show,
Yeah,
that's what we want. That's
yeah.
what you want to see. And so I believe that's what's really cool about this band. We have a full concept, and we there are really no limits to what we can do with it.
No.
So it's just a matter of budget, I guess, but we're working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you
So
cannot
yeah.
yeah, you cannot take this album or any of your albums really. You cannot take this particular album. You couldn't take this album on tour and be dour. This is
Mm.
fun. Like
Yeah.
you said,
Yeah, for
it
sure.
has its melancholy moments and it has its
Yeah.
reflections. Like all
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
music has swings
Yeah.
and roundabouts, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
fun, you
Yeah.
know? And
Exactly. No,
how
no,
you
it's adventurous and fun for sure. Yeah.
and how you're going to pick what you're going to play live from this to with your other catalog will be difficult because it's
Yeah.
every one of them's a cracker, mate. Like, I
Oh,
mean,
yeah. Thank you.
yeah,
That's a tough
everyone.
task. It's a very very tough task. Obviously we're gonna embark on this European tour, and we're out there promoting the new album, and then we picked four songs, I believe, to be in the set list. So
Brilliant.
and but it's been hard to pick. It's like, which should it be, the singles? Like, yeah, probably, and maybe we should add one. That is not a single, which is Cosmic Tide. We're actually playing Cosmic Tide.
Oh, lucky
No,
them.
wait, yeah, but it's yeah. I mean, hopefully we're coming down under at some point as well, and then hopefully we'll
Brilliant.
play that song as well. So yeah,
Brilliant. Brilliant. I'd like
yeah.
Hot Mess.
Mm.
Hot Mess, that's the
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, at some point, because we do play our sort of epic songs. We played the last of the independent romantics
Oh,
for quite some years. We that was a
wow.
part of our show. So yeah, I would think we might end up playing Stewardess, Empress, Hot Miss, and Captain of Pain as well. So
I
yeah,
think your audience, though, I think your audience is the kind of audience that would be very appreciative and understanding of new things go and your music.
yeah,
Sometimes you
I
get
think
some
so.
bands, they do something different, or they just do something like that, your 7 minute song, like you said, you haven't done yourself before. And they might, you get sort of like, oh, why aren't you playing the classics?
Yeah,
But I personally would come and see you and want to see this. Like,
yeah,
to be
awesome. Yeah,
absolutely,
yeah. hmm
because
Very cool.
it's a tribute to your talent. I mean,
Yeah.
so well produced. I mean, you produced it. Did you not produce it?
We produced it ourselves, and it was
Mm.
Sebastian Forslund, the guitarist, who mixed the album. So
Mm.
yeah, we keep it in the family, I guess, and yeah,
Well,
grateful to have all these brilliant people in it. So
it doesn't sound like. I mean, it's like as it says. I always say this to people that the production is another member of the band, right?
yeah, yeah,
And the production on this is something lovely. I was listening to it just on headphones, not even from my stereo, just
yeah,
sitting there, and
right,
I could hear things that I'm gonna have to go back and hear again
right, right, yeah,
because
exactly.
there'll
No,
be piano flourishes that I missed. There'll be guitar
exactly,
parts that I
exactly.
missed.
I,
You know?
that's the beauty of it, and that's what I like about music. That when you listen to albums, that you can keep coming back to them and discover something new every time.
Yeah.
And that's what this band is about as well. It's very detailed, and then it's I don't know. It's definitely an album that deserves to be listened to in its entirety as well.
Oh no, I'd
And
have to say I'm going to say that exactly right.
because it's
Yes.
very dynamic and organic. The sound. So there's room for everything. So yeah, I'm glad that you really like the production as well.
Well, I
I
love
think
the
it turned out great.
production and
Mm,
I love the
mm,
arrangement. And again, that's
mm.
another thing
Thanks.
that can be tricky with an album like this is how
Mm.
you make it flow. And it flows
Yeah.
really well. There wasn't a point
Mm.
where I went, oh, I would have put that up here or I would have put that down there.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do think that way when I'm listening to albums. They go, it feels incongruous, but it flew just beautifully. Like,
Yeah. Nice. Yeah.
and I think that you're right. It has to be listened from beginning to end,
Mm.
and it doesn't take that long. It's not for a long
Mm.
album. It as I said, it just you enjoy it so much. You get to the end, you go, oh, is that
Yeah.
it? Okay,
Yeah.
I better do
Yeah.
that
It's one
again.
hour. It's like basically 1 hour of your life. And yeah.
And what a good hour it
I
can
believe it's
be.
like 58 minutes. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
how
Yeah.
fantastic is that,
Yep.
right? You don't get
Yeah,
many
yeah,
hours of
exactly.
your life that are enjoyable.
No,
That's what I can
exactly. There you
say.
go.
And that's true,
Yeah,
right? That's true
yeah,
because we all
yeah,
have such in life, man. This is more. Everyone has the issues in life, pressures, and
yeah,
like you said, your
yeah, yeah,
mom and these things like that.
yeah,
And then to be able to go and just put that on that makes you smile, and
Yeah,
makes you just want to enjoy music. You know, we all
yeah,
intellectualize music. We all do it, man. We all intellectualize it to a point.
yeah,
But
yeah,
there's a
yeah,
time when you put this on and you just
yeah.
go, yeah, that's it.
There it is. Yeah,
There it is. That's what
yeah,
I listened to
there it
when I
is.
was a teenager. That's the kind of
Yeah,
thing I love, you know.
yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
not saying that you sound old, as we said, it's not
No, no, no,
that.
no, no, no. But I get it. I get it. Yes, yeah.
But
That's an important sort of bond. You know, it takes you back to childhood, and
yep,
that's obviously a big part of it. And
yeah.
because it is, you know, I think it's important to keep like sort of keep in touch with the inner child somehow as
Oh,
well. And I
yeah.
think that's the soundtrack to it. And yeah,
Yep, it triggers the
that's
synapses.
a
I
big
suddenly
part.
feel a bit I'm in a happy
Yeah,
place when I,
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
we need that more than ever in the world today. We need that more than ever. And to
Mm,
have songs like, you know, Shooting Velvet, you know, I love Melbourne
yeah,
May I,
yeah,
Paloma, that's a
yeah,
cracker, you know.
yeah, yeah. That's
Um,
a really nice
it's
one too.
yeah, I mean, the album ends so strong.
Yeah,
I've heard albums where I get to the end and I go, what? Where this one, it just ends stronger. As I keep going back to Stewardess, but it's a strong ending, right?
yeah,
And you need that. Like
yeah.
if you want a powerful ending,
Yeah, no,
and
no, for sure. And I mean, that's important for us because you've noticed now in these days where single is king, you know,
uh,
and it's all about releasing singles these days. And sometimes you feel like, is there a point to release like a long album? Do people even listen? I mean, you see the streams fade after a while, like after like half of the album, but it's like, but we need to keep carrying that flag, you know. It's I feel
you
like it's
do.
important, you know.
It is,
But that
yeah.
being said, we're also rolling with the times. We do release singles, and then I think it also is important for a track to be able to stand on its own feet as a single. I love singles. I mean, you know, now we're almost back to how it was in the 40s, like 30s, 40s. Everybody was releasing singles, you know,
Well, we were,
like
yeah, you and
that's
I are from
it.
a single generation,
Yeah,
right? We bought singles.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So now it's yeah, it's back to that, but I think it's important that we keep, you know, putting out albums out there, even though sometimes you feel like it's not worth it. But I mean, for us it is because we also know that we have a lot of fans that really appreciate that, and that's the
Oh,
whole part of the Night Flight Orchestra. And I think that's why we stay sort of, how can I say it?
relevant.
Yeah, relevant because I mean because in a world where it's all about releasing singles, you know, I think the interest dies quite a lot, and people might not be that excited for something new because it's a single. Okay, I heard it next, you know. But if
Mm.
it's an actual album, and if you expect every release to be an album, and that's sort of like a big part of the band's sound, I think that's why people are interested in going seeing a tour to watch new music and new songs from a new album instead of like this is just new singles. You know, I think
Yeah,
that's yeah,
I
it's
agree with you,
important.
and it is important, and we need to like. I mean, we're going to wrap it up soon, but what I like to say is like
Yeah,
with it's like the TV and movie generation, you know, kids'
yeah,
attention spans are shorter, and
exactly,
they don't want
exactly.
it. But we can teach them that. They can. It will
I hope
change,
so.
and
Yeah, yeah,
but not just that.
yeah,
It's important you do make this because if you don't make this, the world doesn't have it,
no,
and that's a really sad time. You
yeah,
know,
it is
a
in
world
many
without
ways. Yeah.
music like this is a world I
Mm.
don't want to live in, and I mean that
No,
sincerely,
no,
right?
no, no. I hear you. I hear you. Yeah,
And so, you know, keep doing what you're doing because it's brilliant and marvelous, and we love it,
mm,
and we're looking
mm,
forward to you having coming over here again soon. And I really hope the album smashes everything for you because it's a cracker of an album, and
mm. Thank
the
you
world
so much.
the
Thank
world
you.
needs it. And again, I'm going to go back and listen to that again, and
Okay, nice,
with
nice.
different ears,
Yeah, yeah.
which is
Because
always
now we got
fun.
a bit more info about
Yeah,
the album.
exactly. Well,
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
cool. And you picked my brain a bit, so yeah,
yeah,
that's cool.
it's like a fine wine. You know, you like to know
Yes, yes,
where the grape is from. It's the same as
yeah, yeah,
this.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah,
You know,
sure.
same thing. But well, you
Beautiful.
keep safe. Enjoy the tour that you're going to go, and I enjoy
Thank you.
all the extra work you're going to do, releasing the album, chatting to every people,
Yeah,
and all the magazines you're going to have to talk to, all that sort of stuff.
awesome.
But
Thanks, Pat.
bye for now, man.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you so much, and thanks for the support. Hope to see you
Oh, mate,
soon.
anytime. And
Cheers.
look, yeah, good luck. Yeah.
Okay.
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 Bye.
Thanks. Thanks. Bye.